Welcome to Rated Radio Plus. I'm your host, Shane Wyndham. This is Straylight Run versus Dredg. Let's dig in. So we're going to start here with Dredg. This matchup rolled completely at random from a list of roughly 1,000 possibilities, and the albums were also selected by a randomizer. If you haven't noticed, by the way, each episode of Rated Radio Plus is going to run in cycles. Sometimes it will be completely random. Sometimes people have put things on my to hear list, and we're going to listen to that. Other times I'm just picking from audience recommendations from the main show, just so we're clear. There's method to the madness behind the scenes. Anyway, Dredg, what I wound up getting from them was the Cielo album from 2002. Out of the 16 tracks, I thought 7 were great. That means they got a rating of 7 or better on the 10 scale. My bottom track was the first Brushstroke, and my top track was It Only Took a Day. The music makes me feel like I'm having lucid dreams. As for the album, I think the band Thursday in their softest moments, mixed with equal parts Incubus. Their bridges get a little too experimentally off course for me to love many of the songs as much as I want to, based on the excellent verses and choruses, but there's something to be said for the summery ocean meditative vibes present through most of this, which will be instantly beloved by any fan of Thursday's Running from the Rain or Warning by Incubus. The brushstroke interludes are rarely enough to write home about, but they do offer nice breaks in the far larger waves. Another neat thing about this disc is how unmistakable the vocalist ends up being, and the fact that almost no one you know is likely to even know of this talented group's existence may be reason enough for many of you to dive headlong into obsession. Those who do know about Dredg probably owe their familiarity to that Harry Potter YouTube video, Through the Pensieve, which used 2 tracks from later in the group's career. I'll be the first to admit that some of the poetic artistry here should have been pruned into a more accessible form, but this sentiment isn't so pronounced that average listeners won't enjoy large portions of the listen. Repetition can be an issue, and the vocalist could have been less mellow in the grittier bits, but the way the band weaves so competently through the rush hour traffic of moods and play here is way more astounding than I anticipated going in. So this is something of a hidden gem, apt to appeal to fans of everything from Splendor to Hawthorne Heights to Pussifer to this day and age. It's a fairly stunning flex for the ears of those who like well-executed variety, something refreshingly different, which I can't help recommending to folks with taste in music similar to my own. Don't expect perfection or winners that punch into heavyweight territory, and you're probably going to adore the majority of El Cielo. Weak spots be damned, this deserves more of a name than it's yet made for itself in the music world. And with that, let's take a break. So the TikTok Billboard hit I listened to this time around was a song called I Love You, I'm Sorry by Gracie Abrams. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you what I thought about that track before we move on to Straylight Run. So I Love You, I'm Sorry by Gracie Abrams. This easy listening meets indie pop song is fairly impressive if you're into the blend of genres I just mentioned. The melodic variation from one part to another is mostly mild, much like the hand-holdish vocals, and this sort of I know I suck, but I do care about you lyrical territory has been covered ad nauseum throughout the course of music history. But I personally respect how this doesn't try to be anything more than a sweetly personal love song, reminiscent to some degree of what you get from Lifehouse's debut album, and that you can just tell this was written in someone's bedroom while they tried their best not to cry. And the production offers a nice balance of reflecting both the space in which the song was written and giving the gentle frills of modern pop, such as more powerful vocal delivery in the background. I also think this earworm will have more staying power than a lot of the Billboard tracks which get covered on Rated Radio. So if you're sappy like me, someone who, for example, feels moved emotionally by Olivia Rodrigo's song Driver's License, then I suspect you'll dig this as well. 7 out of 10 stars from this guy. Now let's go talk about Straylight Run. The random album I got for this group was The Needles' The Space from 2007. Out of the 13 tracks, I thought 1 was great. My bottom track was track number 12, That's actually the song title. And my top track was We'll Never Leave Again. The music makes me feel like I'm checking out an art show at a coffee shop near a college campus. This disc starts out sounding like the Muppets trying to do a musical impression of Weezer mixed with the Counting Crows. Things only get weirder from there. Exactly what the album art would have you expecting. Luckily, the effort aims for eclectic frills. The female vocals were a surprise for me as someone who only knew the group from their hit Existentialism on Prom Night. I won't pretend the lady ads are life-changing, but they do afford clarity in the moments when their male lead sounds a bit too similar to Incubus's Brandon Boyd. It's all very States meets Sgt. Pepper, which gives me seriously mixed emotions. One thing I can pretty confidently say is that fans of the group Metric will be drawn to this like moths to flame. Quirky to the point of silliness though the instrumentals can be at times, they're skillfully executed, competently produced, and far from run-of-the-mill, the drums being the most consistently impressive portion of the compositions. Some of the vocal delivery and dual layering feels so much like what you'd get from the Wiggles that it can be difficult to take seriously, even when the music is setting a killer mood and the lyrics are nicely mature. But I do at least respect that they didn't just try chasing the success of their debut's hit single. And if you're looking for some sunshine, this manages delivering that to varying degrees throughout. I wound up digging this far more than I initially realized, and my brain will always relate it most closely to Panic at the Disco's song 9 in the Afternoon. If I had to knock the disc for something major, it would be the way the meandering, often lyrically blank bridges keep otherwise solid songs from reaching that status of greatness. But I doubt most listeners hooked by the hokey, happy yet pensive and mildly complex sound will be as bothered by the bridges as I am. It's not something I'd consider an essential listen, nor is it going to be one I return to with even tepid obsession, but it's good enough throughout that I wouldn't knock anyone for feeling heavy affection for it. So consider this your invitation to check the thing out if a parade of rock lullabies at lunchtime sounds pleasurable. Definite props for the indie originality. I don't love it the way I'm sure plenty of people will, but I do like it enough to welcome it in for a friendly cup of tea. Please like or subscribe if you're still listening, and remember you can send all kinds of feedback to rated_radio@yahoo.com. As for a winner, should be obvious, right? Much as I wound up appreciating the Straylight Run disc, Dredg dominated this fight overall. Even the single 7 rating I gave to Straylight Run barely hit the mark because of their off-course landing of most songs. And while you shouldn't get it twisted because I enjoyed both listens, Dredg continues to strike me as a group thought of as belonging to the wrong weight class. They are severely slept on, and I hope they release a greatest hits album someday which makes that fact undeniable. Anyway, that's going to do it for now. Catch the main show every Friday at 9 a.m., and I'll be back with more Rated Radio Plus in 2 weeks. Plenty of time to fill your world with music.